So I'm sure all of you guys have seen this already, but yesterday afternoon, Konami did a big reveal for the new cards out of the 2020 Megatins. One of them was Red Eyes Dragoon, of course, which we already knew about, and the other three were the world premieres. This was a video, I'll link it in the description below. We're not watching it in today's discussion. In today's video, we're just going to talk about my first impressions of these cards. I have pulled up here the Yu-Gi-Oh! News Twitter account. They're a really great Twitter account. I highly recommend checking them out. Anyway, these were the 4 new cards, one of which is just an OSG import. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. I think you guys already know this card is very, very powerful. A lot of people in the OCG have been using it for a long time. I will say here, there's a couple important things with this reveal. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon is an ultra rare, and these tins actually have doubled up on ultras, which means that this card shouldn't be too hard to pull. It is still a pretty big set, but at least this card being an ultra rare means you have a lot of chances to pull it in every single tin. Keep in mind, none of these cards are promos, they're just cards inserted into the mega packs. This particular tin actually has no promo cards, which is kind of different. The other thing here is that Red Eyes Dark Dragoon might be a little bit worse in the TCG than it was in the OCG when it was first released. Nowadays, in the TCG at least, we're getting this card way after they got it in the OCG, so we have a lot more counters to this card that weren't available when it was first released in the OCG. Things like Forbidden Droplets and Triple Tactical Talents are all great counters to this card, and plenty of other ones too, but those 2 cards in particular were not released in the OCG when this card was first introduced into their format. So with this card being released in our format after those cards have been released in the recent set, Rise of the Duelist, it's going to be interesting to see how impactful this card is in our format versus the OCG format. Right now there are a lot of combos that people are doing that require just 1 or 2 cards. You have big Helki Firebacks combos, you have the Numeron stuff, you have pretty much any combo that uses Isolde. The new Infernal Knights can really take advantage of that card quite a lot. So there's already these big combo cards that can create some pretty insane end boards. So I'm not sure where Red Eyes Dark Dragoon really fit into all of that. You do have to play several Garnets to really take advantage of this card's full power, but I can't wait to see. Obviously the card is still going to be very, very good. I'm just not sure how good it's going to be compared to the OCG format, but I can't wait to find out. On to the new cards. The first one that they revealed is called Successor Soul. It is a quick play spell card that says tribute 1 effect monster, then target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard, then special summon 1 level 7 or higher normal monster from your hand or deck. You can only activate 1 Successor Soul per turn. You can only attack with 1 monster during the turn you activate this card. Keep in mind that last restriction is not for the rest of the turn after using this card. It counts the entire turn, so that's kind of a downside here. You can't attack with a bunch of monsters and then use Successor Soul for the final push. You are only allowed 1 attack for the entire turn that you use this card. My initial reaction to this thing is that it's okay. It's fine. It's not necessarily game breaking. I think that a lot of players, myself included, thought that these world premiere cards would be as good or maybe even better than last year's Megatin promos, but I know that these cards aren't promos, but they're all world premieres. These cards are not really going to be on the same power level as Nibiru or Dark Ruler No More or even Dimension Shifter. That being said, this card is pretty neat. It's sort of like a transmodify, but also it sends an opponent's monster to the graveyard. I think this card is good in Blue Eyes and Dark Magician, but it also has the potential to see play in other decks. As you'll see when we go through the other 2 cards, all these cards are supposed to be played in a Blue Eyes deck or a Dark Magician deck. That's sort of the theme that they've gone with for all these world premieres. That might be a little bit controversial, but obviously all the nostalgic card support really does sell sets like this, and as I said in the past, Megatins are supposed to be good for old and new players alike. I think a lot of people can enjoy Megatins, so these are sort of appealing to that more older audience that really does enjoy Dark Magician and Blue Eyes White Dragon. This card might be played in either of those decks. I think that the big winner from these reveals, as we're going to see here, is Dark Magician, but we'll have to wait and see. Next up, we have Destined Rivals, a trap card that says if you control Blue Eyes White Dragon or Dark Magician, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn, and it is a hard once per turn effect. I really think people are not giving this card enough credit. I do think it's better in a Dark Magician deck than it is in a Blue Eyes deck, but it is playable in both strategies. But in a Blue Eyes deck, you usually are more able to combo off, where Dark Magician decks are more about controlling controlling the board, and this card is pretty darn good at doing that. No matter which deck you play though, there are tons of ways to search this. Bingo Machine Go and Blue Eyes can add this card. In Dark Magician you have Magician's Rod, so there are plenty of ways to get to this card because it does specifically list Blue Eyes White Dragon and Dark Magician. Dark Magic Circle is another example of a card that works with this. In general, I really do feel that this card will be pretty good in Blue Eyes and Dark Magician decks, more so Dark Magician. I'm not sure if it's enough to really take it to a competitive level, but they do certainly have some pretty powerful cards. I know that Sam has built a bunch of Dark Magician decks over the years, and I know that the most recent one was pretty powerful, and I think that this card will fit in pretty well with those types of decks. Is it enough to make Dark Magician competitively viable? I'm not entirely convinced, at least not right now. I mean, there's so many big combo decks, there's so many better control decks out there. You have Dogmatica, you have Eldritch, you have Adamancipator, Rocket Strategies. It seems like all the other decks can do what Blue Eyes and Dark Magician can do, but better and more consistently, and that's really what you want to look at when you're trying to build a competitively viable deck. However, if you are a fan of those two types of strategies, Blue Eyes and Dark Magician, this card is going to be a natural inclusion, especially considering how searchable it is, and yeah, it does have a pretty darn good effect. The last card they revealed is called Strength in Unity, and all of you Blue Eyes Chaos Max fans are going to be really excited when you read this card. So it is a continuous spell that says if you ritual summon or fusion summon using Blue Eyes Red Dragon or Dark Magician, you can target one card your opponent controls or in their graveyard, banish it. You can send this face-up card from a field to the graveyard, then target one level 7 or higher normal monster in your graveyard, either add it to your hand or shuffle it into your deck. You can only use each effect of Strength and Unity once per turn. I'll say it right now, the on-field effect to send this thing to the graveyard is really bad. They sort of even said that in the video describing this card. They said like you can use that if you're in like a pinch or whatever, but I think the main effect of this card is the first effect that banishes cards, and that's pretty good if you're playing like a Chaos Max deck or a Dark Magician deck using the fusion monsters, or I guess like they showed in the video, Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon works pretty well with Strength and Unity. I'm not so sure how good this card actually is though. The first two cards impressed me a lot more. I guess obviously Dragoon impressed me too, but the first two World Premiere cards seemed a lot more powerful even given the context of what decks they're meant to be played in. This one seems more like a casual type of card. I'm not really sure if it has a spot in a competitive Blue Eyes or Dark Magician deck. You can't really double up on them, so if you draw multiple copies, the extra copies basically do nothing, which is obviously not good. I think maybe if you could have this card be like a soft once per turn instead of a hard once per turn, maybe then it'd be more appealing. Then you could ritual summon Chaos Max Dragon and banish 3 cards that your opponent controls. That might be interesting, but as it stands right now, I'm not super sold on Strength and Unity. I think the other two cards, while not nearly as powerful as things like Nibiru or Dark Will No More, I think they're a lot more likely to see competitive play than Strength and Unity. Anyway though, that is all of the Megaton World Premieres as well as the OCG import. The rest of the cards in the set are going to be reprints. We don't really know a lot about them. I think John had a picture where he had someone had leaked like one of the reprints was the Dragoonity Link 2 monster, but yeah, I don't know. How do you guys feel about these cards? I mean, if you're a Blue Eyes fan or a Dark Magician fan, these cards are going to be really exciting, but if you're not a fan of those decks, I mean, how do you feel? I will say, because they're not promo cards, it's not like you're going to have a bunch of them just sitting around that you don't know what to do with because you don't play Blue Eyes or Dark Magician. Personally, while I do think these cards are pretty cool for Dark Magician fans and Blue Eyes fans, I'm going to be more excited to hear about the reprints in the Megatons. I'm not really sure when the rest of the cards will be revealed with all of those rarities. These tins are only a few weeks away, so we should know more information not too far in the future. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today's video, my reaction on the new world premieres in the 2020 Tin of Lost Memories, aka the 2020 Megaton. I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.